You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, soap fans. Belinda from Soap Dirt, and I want to talk about Daytime Emmy Awards and who is going to win them. This is our second year of doing Daytime Emmy predictions, and I've got some exciting ones, and just in time because the Emmys are about to air Friday, June 7th on CBS at 8 p.m. Eastern. So there's some really interesting stuff. Oh, by the way, please click subscribe if you haven't. Thank you for supporting the channel. So this is kind of interesting and strange. Neighbours, the Australian soap opera, has 2 nominations at the Daytime Emmy Awards. And I looked at it and I recognized it and I was like, what's this? And what's interesting, they got nominated for Best Drama and Guest Star. And Neighbours was canceled by its Australian network, but Amazon picked it up on their Freevee channel. So that makes it now a U.S. show, so it can be nominated. And by the way, they recently cast Days of Our Lives alum Chriselle Staus, who was also the star of Selling Sunset. If you haven't seen it on Netflix, it's really good. She played Jordan Ridgway on Days before she was killed. So why join an Aussie soap? Well, she's married to an Aussie singer named G Flip, a woman who's actually 12 years younger than Chriselle, after a very messy divorce from Y&R alum Justin Hartley. All right. One more big change this year. There's no longer a Younger Performer Award. Eden McCoy from General Hospital was the last winner. First, they changed the age down to 18. And she was 19 at the time, but she was 18 when she'd filmed the scenes for which she was nominated. And she was criticized for going up against much younger kids. She won it anyway. And then they eliminated the award, and now younger performers have to submit in lead, supporting, or guest categories. So we're going to start with the big award first, Daytime Drama. The Bay has been nominated, Bold and the Beautiful, Days of Our Lives, General Hospital, Neighbours, and The Young and the Restless. So I don't know anything about Neighbours. Now that I know it's on Amazon, I don't know how I missed that alert. I may have to check it out. It looks interesting. I looked at a little promo of it today, and it's just a street, like a suburban street. They're not rich. They're not fabulous. They're not wealthy. They just live on a suburban street. That's so weird. I don't know how that, it kind of reminded me of a Desperate Housewives kind of vibe in terms of the street and everything. So the last 2 years, General Hospital has won, and I feel like they're probably going to take it again this year. They've done some really strong work despite my issues with them, and I feel like this could be their 3rd year in a row. That's my prediction for that. Now let's talk about Best Actress in a Daytime Drama. So we have nominated Tamara Braun, Finola Hughes, Katherine Kelly Lang, Annika Noelle, Michelle Stafford, and Cynthia Watros. So just real quick, Tamara Braun was nominated as Ava Vitale from Days of Our Lives. She submitted some scenes from when she was in Bayview, scenes with Steve Burton, who plays Harris. He was not nominated. And also the scenes where Gil tried to rape her and then she had to kill him. They were very strong scenes, very Emmy-worthy scenes. Over on General Hospital, Finola Hughes was nominated as Anna Devane. She put in a reel of scenes of her shooting Charlotte, talking to Sonny about it, her dramatic split with Valentine, finding out he's been lying to her. It was all great stuff. I could totally see her winning it. Some polls do have her ahead in this category. Katherine Kelly Lang as Brooke Logan on Bold and the Beautiful. Her scenes were interesting pick from the end of her short-term friendship pact with Taylor Hayes, the pact that fans still argue about who broke it first. I think Brooke did. A lot of you guys think it was Taylor. I don't think it's strong enough to win against the competition, though. Annika Noelle as Hope Logan on Bold and the Beautiful. She put in the scenes where her life blew up after kissing Thomas in Rome, scenes with Brooke and Liam, and her journey from girl to woman. Good stuff, strong work. But again, there's just such steep competition in this category this year. So I don't see Annika winning it either. Michelle Stafford as Phyllis Summers on Young and the Restless. All her scenes were around somebody else's storyline. Diane Jenkins returned from the dead. Phyllis's over-the-top reaction with various people. She just didn't have a ton of storyline last year, and therefore I do not expect she will win, although I love her. Finally, Cynthia Watros as Nina Reeves on General Hospital. So she did the scenes of finding out Willow is her daughter and dying of leukemia, scenes with Cyrus where he was a priest and she confessed to him about the whole SEC thing. I feel like for sure the Best Actress award belongs to General Hospital this year. It'll either be Finola or Cynthia. I'm leaning towards Finola, but Cynthia's there. Depending on the poll you look at, they're split different ways. And I do think Finola's work was stronger. That's who I hope, but I'm happy either way. They both put in really strong performances. All right, now let's talk about lead actor in a daytime drama. So nominees are Eric Braden, Scott Clifton, Thorsten Kay, Eric Martsolf, and John McCook. So Eric Braden, of course, plays Victor Newman on Young and the Restless, and it has actually been 20 years since Braden even submitted a reel to be considered for an Emmy. He said he didn't like the voting process, so he never put himself in for an award. But now that it's changed, he's pleased. He submitted father-son scenes with Victor and Adam, and also ones with Nikki about fractures in their family. The very fact that he submitted after so long, to me, makes him a very strong contender. Plus, he's the 500-pound gorilla on Y&R. He's the powerhouse actor over there. He's been there forever. He's an older actor. He might not get that. I don't know how many more, Emmy nominations he'd be able to get. I'd like to see him win it, but I'd like to see somebody else win something more, but I'm not sure if he will. And that's Scott Clifton as Liam Spencer. He submitted scenes from the 2 episodes when Hope returned to LA after he saw her kissing Thomas in Rome. He said Emmy voters haven't seen him like this before. And he says his character was just an a-hole, but he said the whole word in those scenes. It was good work. If Eric Braden wasn't in the mix this year, I would have put my chips on Scott Clifton. Thorsten Kay as Ridge Forrester, he put in a scene with him and his TV dad, Eric, in conflict. He's never won an Emmy, but his wife has won 2, and his kids tease him about it. I don't think this is his year. Eric Martsolf as Brady Black over on Days of Our Lives. He turned in scenes where he was really angry at Kristen over her taking custody of their daughter, Rachel. He pulled a gun on her, then their daughter walked in. It was great work. It was great work. I would say Emmy worthy, definitely. And finally, John McCook is Eric Forrester on Bold and the Beautiful. He put in scenes of conflict similar to those that Thorsten Kay submitted, where Eric was behind the CEO desk again. Ridge was lying about knowing his dad was dying. And then Eric and Donna with his hand shaking, and then his big pre-death party. But honestly, up until the party scenes, I know me and a lot of other viewers were very irritated that B&B was being very loose and sloppy with his diagnosis. Oh, he's dying of unnamed mystery disease. And then I think fan outrage got to be too much, too loud to ignore, and they did this vague cancer thing, and it was just not handled well. So I honestly think just by the merit of Eric Braden finally submitting after 2 decades of not, he could walk away with the trophy. So I'm fine with that. All things equal, I'd give it to Scott Clifton for his work in those scenes, eviscerating Hope so cruelly. It was kind of a masterclass. It was really good. However, I've seen some polls where they have John McCook ranked really high. And I feel like that death storyline of his was intentional Emmy bait. I don't think it was great writing. I don't think it was handled well. I think it was kind of garbage 90% of the way through, and like the last 10% of it was pretty good. It was a very vague and frustrating storyline and only got decent towards the end. Plus, John McCook won last year. I just don't see him getting back-to-back wins, especially not with Braden in the house. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. Best Supporting Actress in a Daytime Drama. We've got Jennifer Garais, Lindsay Godfrey, Courtney Hope, Allison Lanier, and Emily O'Brien. Let's talk about them real quick. Jennifer Garais as Donna Logan on Bold and the Beautiful. It's her first Emmy nomination. She turned in scenes of her finding out that Eric was dying and him saying goodbye as they thought that he would die. It was all right. It was all right. Lindsay Godfrey as Sarah Horton on Days of Our Lives. She did the scenes where Xander confronts her about lying. that he's the dad of baby Victoria. It was very good work. She and Xander were both heartbroken. I do love them together. These were solid scenes, but I don't think it's good enough this year. Courtney Hope as Sally Spectra on Young and the Restless. By the way, her nomination means she joined a very small club of people, there's 2 of them in it now, nominated for playing the same character across 2 soaps. Kimberlyn Brown is the other one, and she did also both B&B and Y&R in the past. And Courtney was nominated for scenes when she woke up and found out her and Adam's baby had died. It was amazing, heartbreaking work, very award-worthy. Allison Lanier as Summer Newman on Young and the Restless. She submitted scenes of her outrage at Diane, who supposedly killed her mother, who had actually faked her death, and then her breakup with Kyle because of that, and then Summer finding out her mom was alive. It was good work. I just don't feel like it was strong enough to win. And finally, Emily O'Brien as Gwen Rizchek on Days of Our Lives. She submitted the breakup scene with Xander, and then the scenes where she finds out her bestie, Leo, has been boinking her new hubby, Dimitri von Leuschner, and then she leaves town wrecked emotionally, determined to take her husband's fortune because he cheated on her with her best friend. I honestly, out of all of these, I feel like the strongest performance was Courtney Hope. However, if B&B managed to sway the judging panel and baited them with that poorly done death story, Garais could get it. I just don't see it. What's interesting is I have seen a couple of polls where Emily O'Brien ranked higher than Courtney Hope, but my money is on Courtney Hope, and that's who I hope takes the trophy. All right, Best Supporting Actor in a Daytime Drama. We had Robert Gossett, Brighton James, Wally Kurth, A. Martinez, Mike Manning, and okay, that's it. All right, let's talk about it. Robert Gossett as Marshall Ashford on General Hospital. He turned in a mishmash of scenes, playing clarinet at his son's wedding, in the backyard where he sees his dead wife and talks to her, a scene of him and Stella dancing. Robert Gossett always does good work. I'm not sure if any of it was necessarily Emmy worthy, but I do really like him. I loved Major Crimes, and when they cast him on General Hospital, I was so excited. All right, next, Brighton James as Devon Hamilton Winters on Young and the Restless. He did the scene of him fighting with his devious dad, Tucker, another scene with him and Nate making up after estrangement, and some scenes with Lily over undoing the merger, and a scene with Michelle Morgan. He's a great actor, but these business plots are just meh for me. He last won in 2020, but I just don't think he's going to win this year. Wally Kurth as Justin Kiriakis on Days of Our Lives. He turned in scenes of him telling Maggie that Victor's plane crashed, and then him grieving while talking to Bonnie, and then Victor's funeral where he did the eulogy, and then him having to tell Alex he's not his dad. Victor is, which that's not true, but the truth hasn't come out yet on Days. By the way, Wally also submitted in the leading actor category for General Hospital as Ned Quatermain, but he didn't win that nomination. Last, we have A. Martinez as Nardo Ramos on The Bay and Mike Manning as Caleb McKinnon on The Bay. I don't watch The Bay. I do like A. Martinez a lot. I love Mike Manning from Days of Our Lives, but I don't watch The Bay, so I can't speak to their performances. I do think Wally Kurth did solid work and should win it, but in the end, I think it might go to Robert Gossett. That's just my feeling, and the polls are feeling the same thing too. All right, Best Guest Performance in a Daytime Drama. We have Lyndon Ashby, Ashley Jones, Allie Mills, Guy Pearce, and Dick Van Dyke. Let's talk about Lyndon Ashby played Cameron Kirsten in a short-term run on Young and the Restless. He did an amazing job, and he got to work with his wife, Susan Walters, who plays Diane Jenkins on Y&R. He played this character a couple of decades ago, so he came back as a blast from the twisted past on Y&R. He had scenes with Sharon, Faith, and Nick, basically his final moments before Sharon stabbed him to death. His run was great. Far too short, and his character killed a kitty. Poor little thing. Excellent work. Very Emmy worthy. Ashley Jones as Dr. Bridget Forrester. Her being part of her dad, Eric's treatment team, by the way, would be highly unethical in real life. She did good work. She tried to save Eric from this long unnamed illness that later they decided was cancer, despite the convoluted symptoms not really matching cancer. Anyway, Bold mishandled that storyline so badly, but the actors did the work. They were given the scripts. They did them well. I just don't think it was enough for an Emmy in the end. Allie Mills as Heather Weber. Can't say enough about Allie in this role. Of course, it's a recast from original portrayer or last portrayer Robin Mattson, but Allie Mills is off the charts good, playing unhinged hook killer Heather Weber. She submitted scenes with her and John Lindstrom as Ryan when they were in Spring Ridge Correctional together, and a confrontation with Ava and her confessing her crimes. It was solid work. She won in this category last year, but Allie thinks Dick Van Dyke is going to win it. She said it's probably going to be his night. Guy Pearce as Mike Young on Australian soap Neighbours. I cannot speak to this other than to say I love Guy Pearce. He was so great on Memento, love him in the movies, and he was on Neighbours decades ago, very early in his career. Most good actors that come out of Australia and wind up working in the U.S. seem to filter through Neighbours, so I'm very interested to start watching this. Anyway, they brought him back for the last few episodes of Neighbours when it was canceled. So he was supposed to be like right there at the end, but then Amazon picked it up and now they have 2 nominees and Guy Pearce is one of them. I can't speak to the work, but I'd be shocked if Neighbours came in and won something right off the bat. I'd be shocked. All right. Dick Van Dyke as Timothy Robichaux on Days of Our Lives at 98. Dick Van Dyke is the oldest Daytime Emmy nominee ever, and he did such good work on Days. Seeing Dick Van Dyke when he was on Days, and even just anytime I see him, it makes me so nostalgic for when TV Land used to do reruns of the Dick Van Dyke Show. He has won 4 Primetime Emmys, by the way, before, so will he get a Daytime trophy? Maybe. If the voters want to make history, he could walk away with it, and I just love him. So my feeling, I really think Allie Mills deserves the trophy. And to be honest, she continues to do stellar work now. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's nominated again next year. And she should definitely submit. But while I think she deserves the win, I think Dick Van Dyke will take the trophy. And I'm okay with that, and so is she, because she took one home last year. And she said that very clearly. All right, daytime drama writing team. The Bay, don't watch it, so I can't speak to it. Sorry. Bold and the Beautiful. They generally don't win in this category. And to be honest, I find this show so utterly frustrating sometimes that I see why they don't get this trophy often. And I don't think they're going to get it this year. Days of Our Lives. They win WGA awards pretty regularly. I do love Days. It's campy, very soapy. And, GH and B&B have only 4 wins each for writing along with Days. Y&R by and far has won a lot more. They've won 10 Daytime Emmys for writing, not all of which I thought they deserved. And General Hospital, the writing for all soaps but Days in 2023, by the way, featured the work of replacement writers, scabs who crossed the picket lines, whose names are mostly not known. So that's another weird factor in this, that like half the year was written, a little over half the year, by the GH writers and the B&B writers, Y&R writers. And then like the other half of the year was written by scabs that crossed the picket line. GH hasn't won since 2009. I don't think they're going to win this time either. Just too many plots left hanging. So Young and the Restless, I get very tired of the nonstop business meetings. I don't necessarily think that Y&R deserves this, but I think they might take it. Looking back at 2023, I think Days of Our Lives was much better written than the others. And part of the issue is that half of 2023, as I said, was written by scab writers. Over on Days of Our Lives, pretty much all of 2023 was written by the core writing team because they taped 6 to 7 months ahead. So we only started seeing the replacement writers like in around January. And then they just finished up their work on May 31st. So this scab writer thing is going to impact Days next year, I think, in terms of this writing award. So here's what I think. I think Days of Our Lives should win this writing award. They had the great Dick Van Dyke story, Xander's reveal as Baby's Victoria daddy, really good stuff. And I'm a huge Ron Carlivati fan. And if the voters don't want to reward scab writers that cross the picket line, they might tip to Days to show support for the WGA, something to consider. And if Days doesn't win it, I'd rather see anybody but Y&R win it. I'll say that. All right, best directing team for a daytime drama, The Bay. Again, can't speak to it. Bold and the Beautiful, I don't see them winning. I'm not even going to go into why. Days of Our Lives, they do really good work, especially considering how low budget their soap is, lower than any of the other shows. General Hospital has won the last 4 years, and I think they may make it 5 in a row. GH is the most put together show, I think, aside from Y&R. As for Young and the Restless, I think there may be, but Josh Griffith really frustrates me. They have some nice new sets and flashy things, but just the look of things and the overall tone and way everything is carried out. General Hospital is beautifully crafted visually. It looks good enough to be a primetime show. The acting is superb. So that's my prediction, GH for the 5th year in a row. So just real quick, we have some interesting other categories. A General Hospital actress is nominated in the category of original song, and that is Jophiel Love, who plays cute little Violet Finn. She wrote the song Shine and performed it herself in the Christmas 2023 episode of GH. And GH is one of those shows that showcases musical cast members on and off during the year, and of course, every year at the annual Nurses Ball. Jophiel also wrote a song for her Uncle Chase's wedding reception, so maybe she'll be nominated next year as well. She's adorable, and she's from GH, so I hope she wins, but I kind of don't think she will. And the other two, looks like they're both from some kind of docu-series, one on Hulu, one on PBS. Don't know anything about them, can't speak to it. Lighting direction. This one's really interesting. General Hospital is nominated. I will say this, GH has about the best lighting on any of the 4 soaps. Days of Our Lives looks like it's lit by 4 crew members holding up their Google flip phones on flashlight mode. I don't watch the talk shows or The View. Those were the other nominated ones, so I can't speak to their lighting. GH is beautifully lit, and I hope they win. Kelly Clarkson's show won it last year. I'd like it if GH got it, though. This is another interesting one that had 2 soap nominees, technical direction, camera work, and video. B&B and Days were both nominated up against a Disney magical Christmas Day parade and the Kelly Clarkson show. Her show won it last year, could win it again. B&B, by the way, had weird camera work the other day. These weird sideways transition shots reminded me of like 90s PowerPoints. I don't think they should win. Days of Our Lives, Days is poorly lit, but I don't think their camera work is the problem. If either of the 2 soaps wins, I hope it's Days, but I'm betting it's going to be Kelly Clarkson or Disney. And Days of Our Lives and GH and Young and the Restless, all 3 of them were nominated for casting. Days could win sheerly on landing Dick Van Dyke for a guest role. He happens to work out at the same gym as Drake Hogestyn, who plays John Black. And Dick Van Dyke asked his friend Drake, does Days of Our Lives have any parts for old people? And they said, hell yeah, we do. And they wrote one for him. Days has the oldest working cast members on Daytime, by the way. Bill Hayes was still working when he passed away at age 98 this past January. John Aniston worked as much as he could until he got too sick and passed away. They just have a really great older set of actors well into their 70s. And I do think they do a good job casting. I'd like to see them win this. General Hospital, I got to give it up to GH on casting. I don't know the exact parameters, but GH won last year. I think they might again. They do spend money and get top talent. So also Young and the Restless was nominated. I do like that they brought back Susan Walters and then brought in her real life hubby, Lyndon Ashby. And that definitely has them in the mix. I think GH will win it again, but I would like it if it went to Days simply on the strength of Dick Van Dyke. Art direction, set decoration, and scenic design. General Hospital is the only soap nominated up against a couple of talk shows and something I don't even know what it is from Netflix. I haven't seen it. It's called African Queens. And General Hospital has amazing sets, amazing set decorators. They've added more sets this year. They have a nice variety of sets. I don't feel like they overuse any of them like they do on some other soaps. So fingers crossed that they will win it. Oh, wait, I lied to you. Y&R is also nominated. They added the Neil Winters Jazz Lounge last year, which is beautifully appointed, constantly used. So that might get them somewhere in this category. It was nice to see them pull the huge GCAC set out of storage and binning that Grand Phoenix Hotel set. GCAC is much better. The View won last year. I can't watch that show, so I can't speak to their set decoration and art direction. Maybe it's for the little visual arts displays that come up behind them. I don't even know how that manages, but I'd like to see a soap win it this year. And I do think with the Jazz Lounge that Y&R should get the nod. Costume design and styling, again, African Queens on Netflix was nominated alongside with B&B and a couple of talk shows. B&B won costuming last year. Maybe they'll win again. I mean, Hope Logan certainly started dressing better after she walked away from Liam. No more Little House on the Prairie ensembles, so fingers crossed for that. And hairstyling and makeup, the only soap nominated was Young and the Restless. I do not know if they'll win it. I have high hopes for next year that if they get nominated, because they made Colleen Zenk as Jordan Howard look alarmingly like a lit professor from Dead Poets Society. Also, if you didn't know it, Melody Thomas Scott from Y&R and her husband are set to receive Lifetime Emmy Awards. Those are all of my predictions. I hope you're watching Friday night. I will be. And we'll have lots to talk about next week. Please subscribe if you haven't. Definitely share your comments on who you would like to see win in all these categories. Come back soon. We are talking all 4 of your soaps: General Hospital, Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, Days of Our Lives, 7 days a week. And as always, I'm your host, Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.